Hey there guys, it's Zologe here, and welcome to the deck profile for the Heroic Champion OTK / Heroic Champion Beatdown. This is a deck that revolves around using your Heroic Challengers to make your Heroic Champions, making them as beefy as possible, while controlling the board using the various effects and eventually OTKing them. Now, you can play this deck in a whole bunch of different ways because of the new cards that have been released. But without further ado, let's go into the deck profile and explain this as we go along. I'll also go down how to play the deck in a future video, like releasing right after this. So in case you want to play this deck really well, go watch that video. I'll put a link in the description as well as an annotation up on the left or right corner of the screen, depending on where I feel like putting it. So check that out if you want to. Anyway, so first we're on the triple Heroic Challenger. The Assault Halberd. This is your main search card. It's basically your Bujin Yamato. You can just sit on this guy and accumulate resources, or you can just use him for, gathering your heroic chances and things like that, should you really need to beat over something real quickly, which this deck does very well. It is one of the very few decks that has a easy answer to Apocalypse Killer. Well, the towers rather, and of course the Colonel as well. Now, most of the main deck monsters can't really do that, but Assault Halberd as well as Double Lance can deal with it, which is, pretty cool because they both go with 3k if you normal summon them and then go for the heroic chance. And not to mention that goes underneath the radar of the Vanity's emptiness, so you can get rid of both the killer and the emptiness in one shot, which is really cool. Next, of course, we go for the triple Heroic Challenger Double Lance. This guy just has a cute little combo together with Blue Mountain Butterfly, which allows you to go for an instant rank 4 that requires 3 materials, which is pretty cool. And he has a 1700 beater on top of it, so he's kind of neat. The main way you get him to the graveyard is either by detaching or by discarding him for an effect. Mainly the 1000 Blades. Next, of course, we go for the triple 1000 Blades. This is a staple. He's basically, he is your Summoner Monk for the deck, basically. Because you can discard one heroic card from your hand, and special summon one heroic monster from your deck. Which is, pretty cool. I think it's any heroic. Yeah, so you can even go for shit like a Warhammer should you need it. But you're not going to be playing Warhammer in this particular build, since Warhammer kind of sucks. Also, in case you should take any damage at all, regardless if it's effect damage or if it's battle damage, you can special summon this guy from your graveyard in face attack position. So that's pretty neat. So you can recruit this guy. Next we go for the triple Heroic Challenger Extra Sword. This is an integral combo piece for a big push that this deck can do, and it puts a big monster on board that your opponent's not going to be able to deal with for at least 3 turns, unless they have an answer to it right away. Now, I'm going to be going through that a little bit in the episode on this particular deck and strategies and things like that, and things you have to keep in mind when you're playing it. So yes. Well, what he does is basically increasing the attack points of an Exceed monster, used him as an Exceed material by 1000, so it's basically Express Train Trolley Ollie for, but it increases attack points by 200 more. And plus the fact that he's a warrior, so you can use him for some pretty powerful Exceed monsters that are non-generic. Next we go for the triple Battle Box of Bailout. Now, sometimes you have to sit and just take damage because you don't because waiting for either the proper setup or you just don't have the proper setup available, and Bailout is actually an amazing card to do so, as well as things like Heroic Advance and other things that can allow you to get this guy out. Should your opponent have something that's stronger for whatever reason, you can make this and just prevent your monster from being destroyed and then get a Bailout on top of that. Or should you just need to have something like a 1000 Blades go off, you can just get this guy out as well to prevent yourself from taking the damage. Well, prevent yourself from losing that life points that you just took. So he's pretty neat. He's not necessarily a staple, but he's a warrior too, so he's kind of cool. Next we go for the triple Blue Mountain Butterfly. This is an amazing card. It combos very well with every single card in your entire deck, and when you succeed with it, it's pretty great because it allows you to go into things like Deltaros and Kusanagi, which are some of your main boss monsters of this deck. surprisingly. Next to go for the triple reinforcement of the army. Now, why wouldn't I play this at 3? It makes the deck incredibly consistent, allowing you to get your combo pieces early. You want to search this guy out as early as possible because he searches out everything else. The other rotas you might want to use to get the Blue Mountain Butter Spies / your bailouts should you need them. But yes. Next to go for the triple heroic chance. This is mainly a big answer to the Cliff Fort matchup because sometimes they have the vanities up, and just having this just makes things a hell of a lot easier for you. Just to get over the discs, the towers, and all the monsters they just generally like to dish out. Sure, you're not gonna be able to get over all of them, but you're gonna be able to go at least over some of them, and it's, you know, a good thing. Next to go for the triple Mystical Space Typhoon. This is just generic back row removal, nothing too fancy there, as well as it's kind of nice against the Cliff Forts. Next to go for the triple Inferno Reckless Summon. Now this card is insane together with 1,000 Blades. It's a combo that allows you to get out a 5 Materials Rongomiant if you go second. Well, actually, you can do it if you go... yeah, you need to go second, actually, in order for this to pull off. Or you can just do it during any other turn after that. To pull off a Rongomiant with just using 3 cards. So, and the Rongomiant is going to have 5 materials. So, I think you can already see the combo right in front of you. But and the guy's going to have 6,000 attack too. So, yeah. Next to go for the double Kaiser Colosseum. Now, this is mainly just to put pressure on board and create a little bit of a soft lock to prevent our opponent go into strong Xyz monsters while you have something like a Kusanagi on board, as well as making the stall game for certain decks a little bit more difficult while you have Rongomiant on board with five materials. You can basically create a pretty difficult soft lock to get over. Next, we'll go for the double heroic advance. This is basically a way for you to get more searches off of your halberds. You generally don't want to exceed with a halberd unless it's absolutely necessary, because halberd is your main search card and it's going to amount you a ridiculous amount of advantage as long as you can keep him alive. And on top of that, he can search himself, which is, ridiculous. So that's pretty cool. Next we go for the triple Unbreakable Spirit. Now this is an honest for any deck in the game as long as you can only control 1 monster. This is ridiculous in this deck as well as in Bujin's, because now they have access to 10 honests, which is, insane since, what's it called? Since Bujin's just run normal summon Yamato and just sit on it now. So this is an amazing card for them. It might be considered a bit degenerate considering what it does, but it helps you out a lot because of Halberd. I mean, if your opponent attacks with a Colonel or a... not necessarily a Colonel, because Colonel is just going to steal a monster, but say that your opponent goes for a, the towers, and he's trying to beat over you, you can just go ahead and activate this and inflict 1,800 points of damage on your opponent, and just to get a free search off. And on top of that, you also get to destroy your opponent's monster, which is pretty cool. And finally, we go for the triple wiretap, because sometimes running into things like vanities and things like that when you're about to go for the big push is not necessarily the greatest thing in the world. As well as if you're going against a Burning Abyss, using a Inferno Reckless Summon and then flipping Fire Lake on you is never good. So before you go for the Inferno Reckless Summon 1,000 Blades combo, make sure that you have at least either your opponent has no back row or you have answers to said back row on board. As for the extra deck, god damn it, we run triple Heroic Champion, double Heroic Champion Kusanagi. This is actually the monster you're going to be going into the most with said combo with 1,000 Blades. It allows you to get a basically 11,000. No, it basically allows you to get a 9,500 points of damage directly on board that particular combo. Or you can go for the riskier but albeit more rewarding play of going into Rongomiant with said play. But this is a much safer option because this guy's a lot more potential in future in the long haul. He's going to be sticking on the field for a while as long as you can protect him sufficiently through things like Unbreakable Spirit as well as Wiretap. And just general, and he protects himself too from traps because you can just detach one Xyz material and negate it, and then you get this guy 500 extra attack, which is, you know, pretty decent. He's going to sit at 6,000 at that point. Next to go for the 1 Stellar Knight Delta Rose. This is another one of the boss monsters you're going to bring out. You're not going to bring out this guy as often as you're going to go for Kusanagi, but he's a nice answer to cards that cannot be destroyed by battle or things like that. As well as, you know, getting that free pop on a, you know, on a 5,500 beat stick if you go for the right cards is, you know, it's pretty scary for your opponent to deal with something like this. Next to go for the 1 Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Since this deck is all about gaining all the attack points, I thought, like, why not? It fits the theme, as well as it's a generic answer to some of the more crazy monsters. Next to go for the 1 King Gorgon, the Antiluminescent Knight. In case our opponents play things like Colonel, which targets, I do believe, you can just go ahead and make him steal another one of your monsters. So, but that's not necessarily your main way to go for this guy. You're just gonna make him huge and make your opponent target different things. It's mainly, I just like the card. It's a cool tech. Next we go for the 1 Comic Hero King Arthur. You're not gonna be going into this guy a hell of a lot, but it's a nice card to have because of that because of the 500 burn in case it would be destroyed. It's more for the, I guess you could say it's for the rogue matchups, because this is a rogue deck and you're going to be facing a lot of rogue decks with this, and in case they should not have a generic answer to this thing, King Arthur is going to be a nice card to have. You're not going to be going into him too much in the competitive game, but you never know. And then we have one of the more famous OTKs you can do with this deck, which is the Blade Armor Ninja OTK. You basically give him 2 extra swords and then just activate his effect and dish out for 8,400 points of damage. If you want to go for a build that strictly revolves around this, sure, go right ahead and play the Raigeki. I just don't feel like the Raigeki is worth it in this particular build that I've made, but in case you really want to go for the Blade Armor Ninja OTK, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you. Next, we go for the 1 Heroic Champion Gandiva. This is mainly used for monster summon, special summoning negations. It's pretty neat. It doesn't necessarily negate the summon, it just destroys the monster outright, which is not super great. But I mean, hey, it's something, right? And besides, if you go for this guy with 4,100 attack, that's pretty crazy too. Like having something that can negate, well, basically just destroy level 4 lower monsters when the special summon is, you know, pretty good in the game. Next we go for the triple Heroic Champion Excalibur. You're gonna going into this guy quite a lot, since it's your easiest answer to towers and other beat sticks in the game, as well as I wouldn't necessarily say it's your best option against Shaddolls because they have Winda. I mean, your best option against that is probably go Assault Halberd plus a Heroic Chance. That's your best bet. But actually, any heroic besides Extra Sword will actually run over it with a Heroic Chance. So, yeah. And of course, you can also go for, you know, the 8k attack in case you really want to deal some additional damage. So, yeah, that's a thing. Next to go for the triple, well, not the triple, the 1 Castel to deal with any problems that you might be having. Like one problem card that you need to get rid of right away, and it's pretty easy to go into with things like Blue Mountain Butter Spy together with anything besides Double Lance. So, you know, that's pretty cool. Next to go for the 1 Evil Swarm Excited Knight. This is just a generic answer to big boards, just like this guy is a generic answer to troublesome cards. So yes, since you're going to be going ham a lot of this, you're just going to be special summon, special summon, special summon, or just not conserving your resources early on. If you don't know the matchup, this guy could be a potential way to get you out of sticky situations. Next we go for the 1 Gagaga Cowboy. This is just for that extra 800 burn should you need it for finish up the game. And finally, I only run 1 Rongamiant because I feel like that's all I will ever need. I mean, at that point, if you get a summon off and nothing happens to him, you basically won at that point. As long as your opponent can stall you up, which certain decks can't. I can admit that. Certain decks can't. However, you still have access to things like Assault Halberd, which both have piercing, as well as it allows you to gather resources and just letting you go for the Rongamian push, which is, you know, pretty threatening under Kaiser Coliseum, by the way. And having this guy at 6,000, it doesn't make your opponent's life a whole lot easier. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and tell me what you guys think of it. And I'm out.